Hello guys and welcome to another video from Time of Business. Today we'll be discussing the top 10 products to sell on Etsy. Now if you're new to the channel, Time of Business is the perfect place to grow your online business. So if you have an Etsy store, a Shopify store, maybe you're blogging, or maybe you're interested in social media, all of that will be discussed on this channel, so make sure to subscribe. And also, if you find value from this video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up. So without any further ado, let's get into the top 10 things to sell on Etsy in 2022. The first one, which might be very far away from many of you, is actually crafts and supplies. So if you want to see the top selling stores on Etsy when it comes to number of products per day or per month, those are usually crafts and supplies. So they sell every single part that you need to make jewelry, to start a business, so like pendants, necklaces, small nozzles and so on. So everything that you want when it comes to crafts, you go to buy from those stores. Now the profit margins will be very small because you cannot charge $100 for a simple necklace, but when you combine all those orders, they add up and the profits start to grow. Now you have to also take into consideration the logistics behind having such a store, so make sure to do your research before. The second product in our list is handmade items. Now, maybe some of you were here in the beginning when Etsy started, and at its core, Etsy was made for handmade and vintage items. So those were the two main products that were sold on Etsy in the beginning, and that scaled up a lot. So now you can find basically anything handmade on Etsy. You can find clothing, you can find jewelry, you can find art, so anything that is handmade can be sold on Etsy. Now make sure to research, look at similar stores, research those products, see how much they sell for, make sure that you enjoy making those products. So maybe you have a passion, maybe you like to make small robots out of steampunk parts. That would be something very interesting. Now make sure to have something unique and make sure it is handmade, because at this point Etsy can tell, or some people can tell, if your product is actually handmade or you bought it somewhere else. The third product in our list is jewelry. Everywhere you look on Etsy, you can find jewelry. You will be able to find millions upon millions of jewelry. Either it is gold, silver, gold-plated, silver-plated, handmade, or something else, watches. Everything can be found on Etsy. Also, they can either be new or vintage. So maybe you either like to make handmade jewelry and you actually go into two categories, or maybe you want to go with vintage jewelry and you can target the people in search for vintage items and also people in search for jewelry. So this is a very large space. I would recommend to choose some niche products. So it's better to sell, let's say, 100 necklaces compared to 100 different types of jewelry. Because when you sell more quantity or more diversity from the same product line, you can actually get more traffic and offer those customers more options to choose from. So if I'm interested into a necklace for my wife, I could actually land on your store, and if you have 100 necklaces, there's a bigger chance that I can find something that I like. The fourth category is wedding. Wedding is very big on Etsy. You can start from making centerpieces up to invitations. You can either go with physical products or digital products. Maybe you are in a country far from the United States, United Kingdom, Australia, which are the main markets, Europe on Etsy, and you would rather go with something digital, but you also target the wedding market. You can go with gifts for the groom, for the bride. There's a lot. You can just go on the biggest wedding related stores and browse through their products and get some ideas on what you would like to make. The fifth product on our list is party supplies. There is a huge demand on Etsy for party supplies. You can either go for children, maybe kindergarten, or it depends on what you like. But everything from paper, cards, posters, personalized, bedazzled, anything can go when it comes to party supplies. You can find a wide variety, and you will most likely find a lot of items you never heard of, you never thought of, and who knows, maybe you find something new, or maybe you can create a new product in that niche. Now, going to the second part of our list, so we had our top 5, and now we will go to the 6th. But before, if you enjoyed this video, if you find value from this video, please make sure to like this video, subscribe, because YouTube will like that and many other Etsy sellers will enjoy and find this video. Thank you, and let's go on. So on the 6th place we have clothing. Clothing is huge on Etsy. You can go with handmade, vintage, you can maybe even have your own brand. So you have a lot of options on how to go with clothing. There are a lot of people that mostly sell vintage clothing. You can pick only t-shirts, you can go with sweaters, maybe you go into rock, maybe you also target wedding, maybe suits, maybe only women, only men, it depends. So clothing is a lot. There's also a lot of stores that only target shoes. So we have helped several stores on Etsy that only sell vintage shoes, and they have like up to 1,000 pairs, and they go from Oxfords to high heels and all in between, and they have sizes for men, for women, and so on. So make sure to make your research, and if you are into thrifting or vintage, that would be a great place to go. And that gets us to the 7th place, where we have vintage. Everything that is vintage sells on Etsy. As mentioned in the beginning of the video, Etsy had only vintage and handmade products at its core. So in the beginning, everything was that. And that normally made a lot of sellers to sell those items. So when it comes to vintage, you can choose a lot. Us, for example, we even started on Etsy selling vintage watches. We restored them, and now we have our own website, which we'll be talking in other videos. But vintage is very strong, and if you can get that product quality, that premium quality maybe, or you can also go with quantity over quality. So it depends where you would like to place yourself in the market. Usually premium clothing, so premium vintage clothing, maybe designer clothing that is vintage, sells very, very good on Etsy and on other markets as well. On the 8th place, we have art and collectibles. So art is, as you may know, a very good way of making money if you're good at it, or maybe if you find the right pieces to sell. You can go with paintings, you can go with prints, you can go with some unique products made of, let's say, brass, wood, and so on. You can also go with collectibles, so very rare pieces, unique pieces, signed by different designers or different artists. So if you can get into that niche, you really have to take your time, learn about that space, because you can easily find a very valuable item in a thrift store, or you can even find it online, because now everybody can find something online. So if you know your art, if you know your artists, if you know their value, or you believe in some artists, you can easily go on Etsy and start a business from that. So now we have reached our final 2 products, and one of them is, of course, digital products. So in 9th place we have digital products. As mentioned in a couple of the previous products or sections, you could easily get wedding invitations, prints, everything can be made digital. And you can think about it that way. I would like to have a painting or a print on my wall. I can easily find something very unique or beautiful that I like online, buy it and go to a local store where they can print, or maybe even I have a printer at home and would really like to support different artists. So when it comes to digital products, you have a lot. You can go with CVs, you can go with invitations. Now, when you have this option of selling digital products, you can easily opt for the printed version as well. So you can let the buyer decide whether to only buy the digital product or you can actually have it printed and send it to him. That is something you need to research and see where your profits are better, or maybe what you like more. Do you only like to sell digital products and be something very fast and instant, or you maybe also like to put some work, print them, have them wrapped up, maybe sign them, and so on. That is something for you to decide. The last product in our list, so our best 10 products to sell on Etsy in 2022, is everything that is personalized or engraved. So when it comes to personalization, at this point Etsy has a lot of items. You can go and pick a different letter, you can engrave your name, you can put your child's name, birthplace, weight on a poster. You can make anything that is personalized on Etsy. Also, you can go with engraving. We can also put those two in the same place, so personalization and engraving, because you can engrave a watch, you can engrave jewelry, you can engrave on wood, and so on. You can easily search for personalized gifts or engraved gifts on Etsy and you will get a ton of ideas. Now guys, those were our 10 products to sell on Etsy in 2022. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure once again to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our YouTube channel because we have many more videos to come. And until next time, remember, there was never a better time.
I wanna be the best in the game, invest in my name, check no restraints, I'm obsessed with the pain. I ingest, I retain, assess and I change, possessed by the thought I'll be free one day from society's restraints. Money, clout and fame, mud, disease, a plague. We all love to hate, have to play the game, have to make a name. All our